this is our final guest, but this is one of the most important guests today because the raffles that we're doing, the fundraising that we're working on here with the Ronald McDonald House with Jay and the different houses out here is to raise money for a great cause. I was able to talk to Jay before we came on here because we were asked, where we live out in Ventura County, they're doing a walk, and if we could be part of the walk, one of the teams to help support that. So I was getting a little bit more information because the info I got was at a chamber breakfast and we were kind of crossing. So I guess up there they have a difference between a house and a room.
It's called the Ronald.
Let me do, sorry. So this is Jay Brand with the Ronald McDonald House. And again, the fundraiser that we're doing is to help, this is the week where it kicks off the fundraising and the funds that go to it. So go ahead and give a little bit of information to the people about what exactly you guys do and the differences between maybe the house and the room. But man, it's some great work.
Well, I'm sure everybody has seen those lovely little boxes that our McDonald's people that put in for us, where you can donate your cash, your change to the Ronald McDonald House. I'm on the board of the Ronald McDonald House here in the Inland Empire, which covers all of San Bernardino and Riverside counties. So we take care of about 28,000 square miles for people who come to generally the Loma Linda Children's Hospital. We are located directly across the street from the hospital. We have 54 rooms for families whose children are being treated at the hospital across the street. We also have families from other hospitals locally, whether it's Arrowhead, or if it's over at St. Bede's, or in Moreno Valley. But typically, what happens is we get a family who has followed an ambulance, or has followed an helicopter ambulance. A lot of our families from the Coachella Valley. And so, Mom and Dad jumped in the car because somebody at the emergency room at one of the hospitals out there has said, we need to transfer your child to the Inland Empire, or into the Loma Linda Children's Hospital because they can take care of your child better. So Mom and Dad have just been told by their doc, hey, we're sending your kid by ambulance, by helicopter, whatever, up to Loma Linda. And Mom and Dad are in their car with what they've got on their back, and they spend the next number of hours at Loma Linda Hospital trying to take care of their little guy. 11 o'clock rolls around. They're exhausted. They've given no thought to what they're going to now do. That's when the social worker at the hospital will say, we have a room reserved for you across the street at the Ronald McDonald House. The Ronald McDonald House, and we have 380 of them around the world. What we do is we are a 5-star hotel that loses money on purpose. You will not, our rooms are gorgeous. Every family gets a room. They have their own in-suite bath. They show up oftentimes with nothing. They have a goodie bag that we greet them with. We have everything in the house they could use. If they need some sort of supply, toothbrushes, deodorant, all of it, we have available for families. They wake up the next morning, they're hungry. They can go into one of our 5 kitchens at the house where they can prepare any meal they like. We have all the goodies for them. Because it's a home away from home.
And sorry to jump in. I know when something like that happens, tragedy, they don't think about themselves. So their sleep goes probably, their nutrition, and it's hard to be any good and make the right decisions when you've been, up all night sitting in a chair, maybe outside, your emotions, your adrenaline's running. So to take a step back, breathe, catch their breath, get some nutrition, get a little rest so that they can be best prepared for the next day or the news that's going on. That's got to be very essential because their needs and what they need are probably non-existent in their mind, right?
Oh, exactly. They are panicked. Something, their whole world is turned upside down. So we just give them sustenance. We give them a room to be so they can take all of that stuff off their shoulders. Their only job is to be over there for their child. We give them everything they need to be able to do that. Our families will visit our home from anywhere from, on average, 7 days. We've had them there for many, many months, depending what has to be done. We have returning families who have to come back because their child had cancer or their child needs some sort of follow-up, and they come back to spend time with us. And you don't just have to be in our counties. We've had people from all over the world who have come to the Children's Hospital at Loma Linda because they are specialists. They have things they can do nobody else can do. So we're there to support those families. And our numbers show that when a child has their family there for them, they will spend upwards of 5 days less in the hospital than a child who is there on their own or just doesn't have that kind of support.
Like it's probably that stress, the tension, they could feel it. You know, the hospital at a time, that's, you know, the smell of it, what goes on there, the unsure of what could happen, your mental capacity. So to have your family there, your support team, and they're cared for, it's got to transfer. I believe so, you know.
That's scary. My child, my first daughter was born. They whisked her away instantly because we didn't know. I mean, we've been up for 24 hours straight. I'm exhausted. My wife's been doing all the work, so she's really exhausted. And they take my child away and don't tell me why. I've never done this before. It was frightening. It's just that 1% of what these families are going through whose children have had. We had a child come in from up in Victorville, 16 years old. Her mother came down to breakfast, found the girl on the floor. She died on the floor because she had training. She kept that girl alive till they got there with CPR. I mean, that could happen that quick for everybody, right? I'm a big supporter of this house because I've never needed it. My family's never needed it. But I've been doing this, I've been helping out, I've been volunteering for 20 years because it's that important to another family. And I can tell you a real quick story. You've heard of the Kevin Bacon 6 degrees of separation?
Kevin Bacon.
The very Kevin, not that Kevin, another Kevin. Here's a story. We had a gentleman who won the world championship.
What's happening? How are you?
About 18 years ago. He decided to give $250,000 to
Yeah, there's a guy that plays. He gives a percentage. One of the guys, Farhall or something is his name. Yeah, he gives a percentage of his winnings.
$200,000 out of his winnings. He went to a bank in Riverside to draw a cashier's check. When he told the cashier or the teller what he wanted, she broke down in tears because her family, herself, had just left the Ronald McDonald House the day before from her visit. So you can't go into a room and ask, does anybody have somebody who's been at one? You're going to find a number of hands. But what we do is we support families. We do ask for a donation of $12 a day. We get that 20% of the time. I mean, these people are flat. I mean, a lot of them have come in. We have people that have to quit their jobs to take care of their kids. They have a family down in Coachella, Victorville, wherever. They're taking care of all that. One might have to quit their job. So we get that now and again, but most of the time, well, I'm sorry, it doesn't cost $12 to operate one of our rooms. Our rooms cost a day probably in the $110 to $120 a night to operate. We have wonderful, wonderful supporters in our McDonald's franchisees, the people that own all the owner-operators out there. They are the ones that support us. McDonald's does not, bless their heart, write us a check for the $2 million a year it costs us to operate our house. They do, however, support us to the tune of about 12 to 15% of our budgeting. But that's out of their pockets. That's not from McDonald's. That's from the owner-operators who do that for us. So everything else has to be raised. And it has to be raised by wonderful people like you guys, like Bass, and all the wonderful people who gave these great gifts today. And I thank them so very much. You guys are the ones that help us put this house together year after year after year. We invite you anytime to come over and have Monday through Friday, 8 to 4, knock on the door, we'll give you a tour. You'll be astounded. Our house is 54 bedrooms. It's 43,000 square feet. It's worth the trip alone to go to the second floor and see the room that the Ontario Reign and the Los Angeles Kings lost it there for a minute. I went out on their ice to get the check. And let me tell you, that's a scary moment. Fortunately, they put down the carpet for me, so I didn't have to skate as I would have. But I mean, those types of people, but companies like Bass, I mean, you guys, this store alone and its employees have stepped up for almost 10 years to support our Walk for Kids. Almost 10 years now. And we're approaching $50,000 raised by the people here. Isn't that astounding?
That's amazing.
It's astounding.
When we were talking off air, some of the things that we use, we're not at nowhere near that capacity yet, but it's great how community helping community to serve the community, right? You got a community of outdoorsmen, a community of businesses that help with you guys, so that way you guys can serve a community of people that need it for medical, you know, and how the collaboration effort is so important. But that's where people that, like you guys in the back of them, that do that work that we don't know nothing about without publicity like this, but that's very important, man, you know? And it's just amazing to see the community effort that you guys are doing for your local communities.
Thank you. We've got, you have to definition change though. At our house, people do spend the night, many nights sometimes. But we do have now, and in your neck of the woods, it just opened up at the Ventura Hospital. I don't know the exact name. This is the hospital in Ventura. We've opened what's called a Ronald Room. A Ronald Room is on the same floor as the PICU or the NICU for those guys, right? I don't know if you guys have had any experience with it. I can tell you from personal experience, there's no hour longer in the world than a hospital hour.
100%.
They go on forever. They're exhausting. So mom and dad have been down taking care of their daughter, their son, going through all sorts of who knows what. Finally, the kid's taking a nap, or he's having some little procedure. They can just go down the hallway and be in a room that's like home. It's got a little television area with a front room. It's got a small kitchen. It's got computers. It's got resting rooms. Food is there for them. All of it is free. They just come in and help themselves and take a break. So that's what a Ronald Room is. We just opened one up at Ventura. Yep. We have one in two of them in Orange County. And our own Orange County room see over 50,000 visits a year. So it's exceedingly highly used.
So I'm going to go back to the community real quick, another story, because we love telling stories. You gave us a story about how the families get to know each other. And tell us that really cool story about what happened with the family and how they're joined forever now. Go ahead and give us that story, man.
The magic of the Ronald McDonald House isn't just being taken care of. You know, you can do your laundry and all those things we all take for granted every day that we do in our own home. The magic is all of the families being together and sharing experiences
and support,
about what
right?
their kids are doing across the street, right? Oftentimes you'll hear a conversation about some mother who's very concerned about a procedure in a couple days for Billy. She's scared to death about what this procedure is going to be. Some other person we have an open kitchen area, will say, some other mom will say, oh, we did that just a couple days ago. It was a piece of cake, nothing to worry about. That kind of support and that education, because nobody in the medical world can do it on their own. They have got to have somebody at their side to help guide. And so with this kind of information, so we had two families just a few years ago. One was from Mexico, another was up here, I'm not sure where. They both had 10-year-old kids. One was a boy, one was a girl. The boy was waiting to get a new heart. The girl passed. The mother of the girl who passed gave their daughter's heart and it worked to this other child. Wow. That's the kind of stuff that happens in this home.
And they would have never met, again, waiting for a donor, just the way it works. But if you guys weren't operating and doing these, you guys are doing so many different, I'm gonna say miracles, right? Because again, the miracle of when something tragic happens you're never gonna plan for, and your health and the health that you have trickles into the child that's being taken care of, and the stress that comes along with that, or the other person loses their identity because of they're taking care of somebody. You guys taking that out, or even a donor right there, a transplant. Man, there's just levels of, again, miracles that you guys are performing in these houses and in these rooms.
Oh, it absolutely is. And I will tell you, we are fully ecumenical. There are no requirements of any kind to be at our home, except to have been recommended by a social worker. Nothing matters. Social, economic, any of that, religion, none of it matters. But we do have our own chapel, and there is, in our chapel, there is something there for any religion you could imagine, and we support it any way we can. So we are...
Just humanity, right?
It's just humanity. That's exactly right.
Oh, very nice.
So, again, my thanks today to Bass. I mean, you guys having this event today, who knows who's going to hear it today and say, you know, I now know something I didn't know before.
I'm sitting here in awe, like, wow, we've got that's amazing.
We are a best kept secret. We're also one of the highest regarded charities in the country, actually in the world. We have a number 2 place, only behind, I believe, is American Red Cross. So, every dollar, oh, by the way, every dollar you give that was raised here today, it goes directly to this house in Loma. It doesn't go anywhere else. It stays here in the community.
Is there any dates you want to announce? Is there any drives going on right now? Campaigns you want to mention?
Oh, we have a number of events every year, but the one that's so exciting that everybody here is supporting today is our Walk for Kids, which is going to be on April 30th. It's a Sunday. I get confused with that easily. More so all the time, as I said. Anyway, April 30th, it'll be here out in Fontana, the city of Fontana, and the Foundation of Hope have been good enough. They give this all to us so that we don't pay for any of that use, and every dollar then is able to go to the house. We hope to raise in the neighborhood a couple $100,000, which is, I say that like it's nothing. It's $200,000, a lot of money. And it's just amazing how many people. You can become a team member. You can start your own team. You can join a team. You can just show up that day and have some fun. That would be great. Love to have you. So you can go online to, I won't even say it because you'll never remember, but you can go online, look at the Inland Empire Ronald McDonald House, and you will get there to sign up.
And there'll probably be some ways to sign up if you go to the Bass Pro Shops Facebook and the links and stuff that they have here. And there's different ways that people can pledge yearly, at one time, make a percentage where they can make their continuous donation, things like that, right?
Where we'll be happy to take $10 a month if you'd like to. If you can do fantastic. We appreciate that.
We're checking into that for sure. Yeah. Honestly, we call them goosebump moments. You guys ever have goosebump moments when you get the goosies? You know, and this is definitely a goosebump moment, and definitely something that I'm glad I'm part of Bass Pro and the team, as much work they put in, and to spread this word, we're definitely going to be able to push this because this is amazing work. Yeah.
I thank you very much. Yeah. We really appreciate your support. It is, it's one of those things that the more you do with it, the more you get back.